Hello and welcome to another episode with Chat with Ty. Today we're going into the world of sports nutrition on yet another episode of Talking Sports. I have the honor to welcome another guest today, LinYi. LinYi's working for the sports nutrition team at the University of Minnesota, and he was born in China, so was I, so we kind of have that connection going on. Why don't you introduce yourself a little bit? Tell us a fun fact about yourself.
Hello there, my name is LinYi, as he said, and I'm right now a senior at the University of Minnesota, majoring in nutrition and minor in psychology. And a fun fact about me would be that I'm actually partially ambidextrous. Like, I could dribble well with both hands in basketball, and also eat with both hands using silverware, but not to the extent I can write with my left hand just like my right hand. So yeah, that's my fun fact.
That's a good fun fact.
Mm-hmm.
So diving into sports nutrition, why were you interested in pursuing a career in sports nutrition in the first place?
In the first place, I actually came into the U of M as CFANS undecided. The CFANS is the College of Food, Agricultural, Natural Resource Science, and came in knowing that I want to pursue something in this field, and obviously nutrition is included in that. And I only decided to narrow it down to nutrition second semester sophomore year because I became so interested in how food affects people or the general population on a more specific level, instead of going over food science and natural resource science and a lot of business and laws. So I finally figured out what I'm interested in. Unfortunately, the U doesn't specifically offer sports nutrition major, but I still got into nutrition major.
Okay. What's a fun fact that you know about nutrition that you think is very interesting to learn?
One of the fun facts that most people might not really know is that the phytates commonly exist in whole grains that are unleavened. For example, brown rice, any other unleavened grain. Bread is not an example because it is leavened. Phytates will exist in unleavened grain, and it will hinder iron absorption.
Interesting. So what should we eat to avoid that?
We should limit our consumption of a lot of the unleavened whole grains if coupled with iron consumption. And also, for better iron absorption, another thing is to, if possible, try to incorporate it with vitamin C rich food. For example, obviously, tangerine, lemon, whatever, bunch of fruits.
Okay. Mm-hmm. That's interesting. So going back to the topic, how did you first get into working sports nutrition for the U?
I first got into working for sports nutrition. The story all starts from a mass email that's sent around the whole CFANS, the whole college. I saw the opportunity saying, they are hiring new sports nutrition interns, and I looked into it and sent out the application, and then the process went on for about a month, and they finally reached out to me and scheduled a Zoom meeting. I was meeting with their team dietitian, a pretty sweet lady, basically having a team mom status, and also the general sports nutrition manager for all sports team. And it went pretty well. I felt that is something I actually want to do, because I'm a very practical person, that I like to do stuff that I know I am helping a purpose that I want to be involved with.
Yeah, definitely. All of our works that we do, we want to see the result and know that what we're doing is actually doing something good for other people. Mm-hmm. So I definitely understand that. Walk me through the day-to-day operations of working in sports nutrition during the off-season versus in-season. What's the difference there?
let me start with the off-season kind of day-to-day operation. I started earlier in May this year, so I started working there off-season. So, and in the off season, every week have like a kind of different schedule because there are some weeks like players are going to focus on skills. Some weeks during off season they are just like barely having any field practice or skill practice there. There are some dedicated weeks that are dedicated to just lifting for player, for example. So, and there are 2 weeks out of the whole break that the players are just off. For example, the 4th of July week, and also another week that I don't remember when it's at. But the day-to-day operation, I will mention the example during their team lifts. What do I do? Before their lifting session, me and a couple more sports nutrition interns that are scheduled at that shift kind of set up a table full of the pre-workout snacks that they can grab. For example, their most preferred pre-workout snacks are Rice Krispies or Gushers, and we also set up some mini portion cups of fruits and some electrolyte drinks. The electrolyte drinks, since we are using the brand of electrolyte drink called Drip Drops, and I actually find that one tastes kind of better than Gatorade, just personal opinion. And then during their lifts, we pretty much just use that time to do something. For example, like restocking the or checking inventories. And since they have like their team lunch and their team coaches office and meeting rooms, those places are most time fully stashed with snacks. But we have to replenish the snacks over there during the time that they were lifting or practicing. But one more thing is about 30 minutes before they finish in their lifting session, the fun parts come. We start to make a bunch of protein shakes in a variety of flavors. For example, I would have mentioned that the team's favorite flavor is Oreo cookies protein smoothie, and those goes by fast. It's super popular. And there are some bunch of other flavors. For example, like a lot of the fruit smoothie ones, like with for example, cherry and mango, and then orange, coconut water, and pineapple, and bunch of those other flavors. One thing I would like to mention during their field practice is that we do have to set up a lot of some big kegs of Gatorade or a bunch of other electrolyte drinks for players to just have some during their practice, during their rests. And also similarly, we set up some pre-workout snacks just like lifts. And yeah, and also it is definitely a pretty fun experience just to be on the field side, watching the players practice. I'm particularly interested because I kind of watch what kind of drills they do, and also it's a pretty enjoyable experience watching some of the players that I kind of stand just putting that work in.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a lot of preparation before the players come in, and pretty much right after their practice, because I know personally right after your workout there's a 30 minutes to an hour window where your body absorbs a lot more than say 2 hours after your workout, and that's when you want to replenish your body with the best nutrition and protein.
One thing I particularly remember, which I find a little funny, is right after their practice, we have to just be please get some. We have to just encourage them to grab one with them, whatever, those smoothies.
Yeah, that's interesting. So you mentioned that their favorite flavor is Oreo flavored smoothies. So I was wondering how you guys make those. Do you use Oreo flavored protein powder, or do you blend Oreo into the smoothies?
Nah, we use Oreos, actual Oreo cookies in the smoothie. All of our protein powder comes in vanilla. Pretty boring, but that works fine.
So you just talked about how the sports nutrition department operates during the off season. Since right now there's already been a couple football games this season, do you notice any difference between off-season nutrition versus in-season nutrition?
In-season and off-season nutrition, I don't get to notice that many things because I'm only at their facility for some limited hour and not that much hours during the time they actually go to dining hall and eat a massive portion of food, as you know, football players. Yeah, and schedule-wise, I've noticed that in-season schedules have been more consistent from like week to week basis. For example, like there are dedicated time for practice, lifts, and physical therapy treatments, and whatever. Dinner, lunch, every meals, and each week's pretty much looks like the same since it starts to become like a regular semester and regular season compared to off season, which is more flexible kind of schedule.
Yeah, definitely more stability and accountability during the season versus the off season.
Yeah,
I remember noticing a difference in supplies or the nutritional supplies during the off season versus in season. One thing in particular that I really noticed was that during the off season, there were more protein shakes spread out throughout the whole facility. But once it starts gearing towards the season, they switch out all of the buckets of protein shakes for higher sugar content electrolytes and stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was going to talk about. Like during the season, like I noticed like our team dietitian, or basically the whole football team mom, like tell us to make the shakes like with proteins. But it's weird that she tell us to make it also with some Powerade mixed into it. For example, there's like a peanut, besides the orange Powerade and vanilla shakes, tastes honestly kind of gross in my opinion, but the players are okay with it. There's one electrolyte plus protein shake that I particularly like, and also a player enjoys as well. It's a pina colada flavor one. Since you know, like coconut water is like a pretty much a natural electrolyte drink, so we mix coconut water and some protein powder and a little bit of coconut milk sometimes, and then lime juice and pineapple chunks mix into a big blender. So basically a non-alcoholic pina colada with protein.
That sounds amazing. Absolutely. Yeah. So my assumption for the reason behind the shifts in the nutritional supplement is that during the off season you want the players to gain muscles and kind of be lean and then stay in shape because they have to practice. But during the season, you want them to gain weight, so they maintain that weight throughout the season because they're practicing a lot harder and they're pushing their body a lot harder, so they want more calories. Is that correct?
Yeah, definitely noticed that like they have definitely have noticeably more lifting sessions during off season compared to in season. In season, they have a lot of practices out on field, or if it's raining or whatever, they have like an indoor field to use. And yeah, I noticed that. And also diet wise, like in season nutrition had been a little bit more carb heavy. I agree with you.
Now we kind of went through all of the things that you do for sports nutrition during the off season and during season. What's some of the pros and cons of your job?
The pros and cons. I will start with the pros. The pros is that I get to have like a glimpse of what is like the sports dietitian kind of job is going to be like. It's like a glimpse, and also we get to have like hands-on experience with some of the athletes, and actually like you know like the in-person kind of experience always beat the working online type of stuff, in my opinion, because that way, and especially I'm a very analytical person, that way I learn so much better. And I really recommend doing this for if you are a very analytical person as well. Let's then move to cons. The cons, like I would say, the first thing that comes to my mind is that the things can get pretty repetitive sometimes, and honestly, there are sometimes I'll just like getting bored. And even when people say, "Oh, that's cool," that sounds like a cool internship, but deep in my mind, I'll just like say, "Okay," like it starts to become like pretty repetitive.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with your pro for the job being actually getting hands-on experience where you get to put what you've learned through classes and readings into actual use in reality. And also, I completely agree with the cons of things getting a little repetitive. Sometimes working in sports, it's a lot of repetition because you're trying to do the same thing. And that's kind of the model that I'm trying to follow, is do simple better, which means I want to be as consistent as I can be. I remember you telling me that you were trying to invent new flavors. How's that going?
That was actually, I put one of the new flavor on the recipe book is the honey waffle protein shake. I loved it, but like the player doesn't like it as much as the Oreo one, but they still like it decently. It's basically grind up some those waffle ice cream cones you can find at a bunch of grocery stores, and also put it with vanilla protein and a dash of honey, and then that's like it. A pretty minimalistic flavor.
Huh, that's very interesting. I will need to try that at some point.
Yeah.
So thanks for talking through what you do and the pros and cons of your job. Last question for you, LinYi, is that if someone else is also looking to pursue a career in sports nutrition, what's some of the advices and suggestions you would give that person?
So when it comes to my mind, advice for sports nutrition career, the first thing is that don't be afraid that you mess up. Honestly, I think this applies to so many careers. Like, if you mess up, that's okay, because what do you expect? If you're still an undergraduate, that it's normal. It's normal. And even when you're just like deep further into your professional career, it's normal to mess up. But it's what matters that how do you learn from those little mistakes, and how do you reflect from that to do better in the future. And the second thing that I would like to say is that actually talk to people. I know this probably sounds pretty cliche, but yeah, and it also applies to a lot of other jobs as well. For example, like it will make your experience so much more fulfilling if you even talk to the players just a little bit for a really short time, and also talk to the team dietitian have been pretty rewarding for me. And besides some of the work shift scheduling and some pretty serious stuff, like most of the team staff and including the team dietitian are pretty open to chatting about other topics as well, even it's about like life or school or their takes on the career or like the professional development, since they are definitely so much older.
Yeah, definitely. Going off of that, obviously one of the best things to learn when you're younger is to not be afraid of failure, and just trying to learn from your failure. Like someone said a long time ago, failure is the greatest teacher. And going off the other the second thing that you mentioned, building connections and asking a lot of questions. Personally, I believe that if you want your workplace to feel more comfortable, you want to get to know the people that you work with and build that connection. And also building connections, building bridges can lead to future opportunities as well. And just not be afraid to ask questions, because that's how you get yourself out there and how you can gain more experience and hands-on experience and connections. So definitely feel that. Well, thank you, LinYi, for hopping on today and teach us a little bit more about what you do for the sports nutrition department and your story with sports nutrition. This is Chat with Ty. I will catch you guys next time.